Good morning. Welcome to Ramblings with Joe. The big news of the day is Jimmy Kimmel has been suspended indefinitely is the terminology that they're using. I think that this probably means that he has been fired. It's not as simple as we think it is. There are those out there who are rejoicing. I have to admit that initially I was kind of happy about it, and I had to take a look at myself because that's probably not the reaction I should be having. After thinking about this for a while, I probably am guilty of a little bit of, well, taking some joy in someone else's demise. Don't get me wrong. Jimmy Kimmel's going to be fine. Jimmy Kimmel is a rich man, and he has made the decisions to comment on the things that he decided to comment on. I haven't been a fan of Kimmel's for a while. I don't know. He was always too saccharine for me, too artificial sweet. When him and Corolla were on the Man Show, my wife and I would watch it, and it was pretty funny. We kind of enjoyed that, but after the Man Show was kind of abandoned by the two, he just wasn't my cup of tea. I think those two as a team were enjoyable. But that aside, we have to be very, very careful where we allow the government to go at this point. There are two sides to this story. Well, let's start with the right. On the right, everybody's very indignant about Kimmel's comments about the shooters. Basically, Kimmel said that the right was trying to paint the shooter as a left ideologue when he was MAGA. Well, the truth has come out now, and obviously the guy was a leftist. He had a trans boyfriend, girlfriend, I don't know what you want to call. I personally prefer to call him a dude, so I'm going to call him him. He had a trans boyfriend who's transitioning to female. The ability for the right to now point out how wrong Kimmel was and how rude his statements were. It's a blatant affront to anybody who thought that Charlie Kirk was a good man. I think Charlie Kirk was a good man. However, I went a little bit deeper in my reading of the situation. So Pam Bondi came out and stated there's a difference between freedom of speech and hate speech. And she went on, I'm summarizing here, she went on to say that the Justice Department would be going after anybody who practiced hate speech against anybody in America. No, that's not something the government gets to do. The government is to ensure that hate speech is allowed. That is the essence of freedom of speech. That is hearing things you agree with. That's not freedom of speech. Hearing things you disagree with. That's freedom of speech. The idea that Pam Bondi would bring the weight of the Justice Department against anybody whom she deems to be practicing hate speech, that's abhorrent to what the Founding Fathers wanted from the First Amendment. The solution for hate speech is better speech, period. I'm sure she regrets saying that right now. She's catching hell from both sides. Then the FCC chair came out and said ABC would have serious problems with their licensing if they didn't take care of the Kimmel problem. Again, the solution for hate speech is better speech, not governmental threats. Who cares? The ability, I mean, let's look at the numbers. The only thing holding up traditional media, as in the FCC licensed airway media, is the advertisers. And my guess is eventually those advertisers are going to go away, and then all that will be left is the internet. ABC could have suspended Kimmel and just left him on the internet. His show will now be put on the internet because of FCC threats. Okay, so many of you agree with the FCC threat. Let's go a little bit deeper. From what I've read this morning, the people that started this movement, the affiliate owners, I think it's Nexstar or Nextel or something like that, and another one are pulling Kimmel's show off the air. Why is that important? You should support that. Well, here's the problem. The problem is these two entities want to combine. They want to merge into one entity, and they need FCC approval to do that. Well, that's a hell of a wrench to throw in the works. So now we have these two companies that are trying to merge that need FCC approval, and FCC chair has threatened ABC with the idea that they may lose their license. I mean, he didn't come right out and say that, but he definitely inferred it. So these two companies said, okay, well, I guess we have to do something. And they did something. They pulled the show. This is politics. And beyond the politics, I had to do a really close look at myself this morning and decide, was I rejoicing in someone else's demise? As I said, Jimmy Kimmel will be fine. On one hand, I have mixed emotions about this. On one hand, I think that Kimmel probably should have been pulled for the remarks if his audience demanded it. Well, I don't know if his audience demanded it because he has a very liberal-leaning audience. The ABC affiliates, are they surviving? I don't know. Surely their audiences are diminishing. Their viewership must be down. I keep hearing how most viewers are turning to internet sources now. We don't have an antenna. We don't have cable. We don't even have satellite. All we do is stream. So I believe that's probably the way of the future. So if the viewership was going to go down because they kept Kimmel, then yeah, it's justified. However, if they dumped Kimmel for either a political reason so they could merge these two companies or from an FCC threat, well, that definitely is censorship. And that shouldn't be allowed by either side. That should not be allowed by the left or the right. Of course, what should be and what is oftentimes a different thing. When I did look into myself, I did realize that, yeah, I would prefer Kimmel be off the air, but I don't watch him anyway. So perhaps I was rejoicing in someone's demise. I don't care. That's what it comes down to. I don't care if he's on the air or off. I'm not going to watch him in either case. And perhaps there is an audience for him to continue his show on the internet. I think initially he probably won't garner as much money as he gets from ABC, but I think eventually he could probably make more money in the same way that Tucker Carlson has now gained his freedom. The real question is, if he does that, if Kimmel starts his own internet show and goes the route of Tucker Carlson, will his point of view change? Will his style of broadcast change? Will he now be not nearly as liberal as he has been under the thumb of ABC and Disney? I would be very curious to find that out. I would probably watch his show if it was on the internet. Short term, anyway. As I said, not my style of comedian. Is he a comedian? I don't know. In recent years, he hasn't made me laugh. I know a lot of you are happy that Jimmy Kimmel is off the air. Look at the situation. Check the facts. Was he actually fired? I'm going to call it fired because unless they bring him back, it's fired. Was he fired because of your outrage over his comments? Or was he fired because of Pam Bondi's comments or the FCC chair comments, or because two affiliate owners want to merge their companies and they need to have the approval of the FCC. If past actions of Disney are any indication, my guess is the latter. My guess is that they want that merger, and the affiliate owners put pressure on Disney, and Disney said, okay, he's got to go so we can get this merger pushed through. That's a business decision because two businesses want to merge, and the government has firmly placed their foot on the neck of Disney and said, you want that to happen? Acquiesce to our demands. That's my personal opinion. What the truth is, we'll never know because we don't have transparency in government. My libertarian roots are coming out there. At any rate, it is Thursday. We're creeping up on the weekend. I'm looking forward to today. Yesterday was a good day. I got some crap out of my system that I needed to yesterday morning. This morning I'm just kind of cruising along, drinking my coffee. Thursday, it's going to be a good day. I can feel it in my bones. Not because Mr. Kimmel has lost his show, just because it's Thursday and I've been having a good week so far, so I think it'll continue on. It's going to be a wonderful day. I'm going to have a fantastic Thursday. I hope you're going to have a fantastic Thursday too. I hope you find peace, love, and dream. Until next time, see ya. My chair's squeaking again. I'll turn it over there.